It's Thursday, not Saturday, it's Thursday. That's right. And we have got something special tonight. That's right. We have got Cameron McQueen from Turning Point joining us. We've even got some special beer in. And yeah, so here we go. Well, I'm not going to have the beer just yet. I'm just going to battle and wait for Disco and Cameron, the show. And hopefully, they won't take long. What have I got in store? Well, box right here. Oh, 4 of our beers. It's all I can afford at the moment, bit skint. And yeah, what else are we up to? Well, this is part of a series of a whole load of guests we've had on, and we're going to have more. And we're going to just keep on doing this. Ooh. Turning Point and Pub Opinions. Ooh, hello. I think I need to send an invite to someone else to join me. Wonder who that could be. He's probably watching.
Technical problems.
How are we doing?
Very good. Yourself, sir?
Tremendously well, yeah. This is excellent, isn't it? What a time to be alive.
It is, you know, autumn's kicking in, and I've got some beer of yours, so it is a tremendous time.
Good.
Oh, good. Oh, Disco's here as well. I'll just put him on as well, and this is great.
Hi.
I usually... you go ahead, mate.
I was going to say, I thought we'd skipped autumn and gone straight to winter by today's standards.
Yeah, I did wonder. I did wonder myself. Oh, but anyway. Oh, evening, Disco.
Evening.
Greetings. Hi there. All right.
Hello. So, I'm just placing my beers up on my shelf.
Okay.
And that's it. Cameron just joined about 30 seconds before you. And
we were talking about you.
Yeah, we were talking about you.
So it's become traditional, that is.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit behind. He doesn't always see it go live.
No. Anyway, welcome everyone who is currently joining us. Sorry if we fall behind in the comments. We've got having a chat and we're drinking beer, and that sometimes happens. So, if I remember correctly, the first time I had Turning Point beer was Ealing Beer Festival 2019. And this is the point where Disco says I'm wrong.
No, this is the point where Disco says it wouldn't be a Rasco and Disco beer show without a little bit of pixelation from Rasco, and we missed the first half of that sentence.
I think you said the first time you had a Turning Point beer was in 2019.
Yes.
Well, you've got it.
I did get the distorted audio as well, but I spend about 20 hours a week driving, and most of that time is spent talking through my car with my hands free, not doing a good job. So I've learned to just pick up the important vowels and consonants of broken sentences.
Well,
But yeah, you're spot on. I believe it was 2019 at Ealing Beer Festival. I think we first saw Turning Point. It might have been the year before, but I believe it was a beer called Bamboozle.
Oh, wonderful! Yeah, that would have been a white stout.
yes, it was. I think that's the first ever white stout I ever had.
Nice. Yeah, it was a nice beer. That's if we've ever met Luke, the head brewer at Turning Point, his basically his job interview was to come up with a recipe that he thought was like a good Turning Point style recipe, and that was that beer that we ended up brewing.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's the one. And then very shortly after that, I had a pint of Disco King on the bar at Doncaster Brewery. I was just about to leave, and he put it on. I'm like, well, I'm definitely going to have a pint called Disco King. Obviously, it's quite noticeable and a decent beer. So that's our kind of early introduction into Turning Point. I'm going to get a beer on. I'm quite thirsty. Are you joining us with a beer, Cameron? Have you got one on already, or?
I wasn't going to, but I just gave in to the peer pressure then, and I opened one 30 seconds before we started. I genuinely wasn't. The kettle boiled about a minute before that, and then I opened the fridge to take out some milk, and I stumbled upon a big can of marble Lagonda, and here we are.
Here we go.
It's entirely not compulsory, responsible drinking and all that. But what a decent choice to stumble upon.
Now, also back at the Ealing Beer Festival, and to honour the occasion, I've even got my Ealing Beer Festival glass, 2019.
Wonderful.
I believe I had a Mick Foley Milk Stout.
Yeah, Milk Foley. So that was a heavy lactose festival for us then, by the sounds of it. These things come in waves.
Yeah.
One week we're all barley wines and bitters, and another time it's all milkshake, pale ales, and sprinkles.
I'm geeky enough to know there's a wrestling reference in there as well. So
that's right.
Yeah, you a Mick Foley fan?
Well, that name actually came from Lee at Brew York. If you know anything about their beers, you'll know that they're the kings of Lee and Wayne at Brew York, just the absolute masters of celebrity pun names, and that was our collaboration with them. Was Milk Foley.
Oh, that was right. But then you brought it back as well this year in cans.
That's right, yeah.
A couple of cans this year of it.
Yeah.
Oh, Rasker, you've gone straight to the stout, so why not? That's the Dan Caviar, isn't it?
We don't mind, but I'm joined by one of our cats. This is
nearly mine, but she decided to go out.
I was so glad when I saw this evening that we were doing this on Instagram, which means I can sit on the sofa because I can't miss out on the time with my cat.
Have you? Is this your first Instagram live, or you're a veteran of such things?
I've done a couple. Never hosted such a thing. In fact, that's not true. No, I've done it a few times, but only for like quick look around the brewery or whatever. So yeah, it's an interesting format. I like it. It's more informal, isn't it? And I like that people have the option to watch it back and join in at the same time, unlike sort of Zoom, I guess, some other platforms. But yeah, this is spot on.
Well, that's it. I mean, almost all of our other guests have pretty much been sort of first time on Instagram, and they've all kind of enjoyed it. But it's right, it's that kind of informal sort of chat with a beer, as if we was like sitting at the tap room or whatever.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I've seen you a couple of times on Zoom for the Turning Point birthday show, which I really enjoyed, and that was brilliant.
Good. Yeah, it was a good night.
And there's the T-shirt I got from that competition.
Oh, brilliant. Which question did you get right? I can't remember. What challenge was it?
I haven't put it up. It was the Brewery the Furthest from Turning Point's T-shirt.
Oh, wonderful! Oh, that was heavily contested, wasn't it? Because one guy was wearing a Guinness Australia cap. We were like, no.
That was me. With Guinness New Zealand T-shirt.
Oh, that was it. It was. But then some other guy. That was it. That was the one that was in. But what was the one that was like no chance? And the guy was like, no, but it's further away. I can't remember, but
I think I was up against Sierra Nevada. There's a guy in a Sierra Nevada shirt.
Oh right, okay. Maybe he was arguing that Guinness Australia shouldn't count then. I can't remember.
Well, I did feel a bit bad, but I think somebody Googled it and said Guinness had been producing in New Zealand since 2000 and whatever, and it was slightly after the date of the actual shirt. It was sort of kind of accepted.
I like it. Well, the main thing is that you were there. You went there, didn't you? So it's fine.
I was there. I got the T-shirt. Yeah, as they say.
Sorry for making all sorts of noise.
Sorry? I get it.
Sorry, I'm just running around my house making noise.
I started to like a Big Beat Manifesto, which I remember talking about on that Zoom meeting. Was that?
Oh, of course, yeah. That was another one of the prizes to do with the birthday competition night thing. So the guy, the main prize was best beer name that we will actually use of people's suggestions. They get I think it was a couple of cases of the beer.
Yeah.
And that name was actually on our beer name list already. But it's become a mainstay of our offering this year.
That's good. Just so everyone knows, I'm on the Hickory Clan Kavara Maple Pecan Danish Stout. It's very sweet. Not much in aroma, I've got to say, but it's very sweet and nice so far. Head's dissipated very quickly, but it was nice and brown.
I'm going to have to ask about that name because I don't entirely get the reference. Is there a reference there, or is it just...
No, it's one of those things we kind of just... Well, I didn't make that one up. That was an Aaron one. And I can't remember where he got it from. I think he said he just came up with it because he had a dream about some world where Oompa Loompas were picking pecans off of trees. And they were like this weird sort of, I don't know, tribe of people called the Hickory Clan. And the pecan was their caviar. And then when he told me about this, he's like, well, why aren't we naming a beer that? And that's how it came about. That's the sort of level of seriousness with which we pride ourselves.
I would say brilliance if you're picking names like that. It's
funny because we made a lot of cans of that beer, and it's funny because everyone sees it like that just doesn't mean anything. And but it's funny to us because it's like every time someone says it, it's like, oh, I've just. The butterfly effect of naming beers is one of the best parts of the job, to be honest, because if we sit there and go, we could call it this thing or we could call it that thing, but the reality is whichever thing we go with, like thousands of people will have to say those words that would never have said them otherwise. So like we've changed the course of history every single time we name a beer something silly.
Well, I mean, from my point of view, it's often how I buy beers. If I've got a good pun, like you say, Brew York, or just something a bit daft, something that kind of stands out and sticks, and you can sort of talk about, riff off, do some puns off. I love a good pun.
Absolutely.
Anyway. And I love beers with disco in the name. I've got this odd, since I started with Disco King, and probably before that, seeing Disco Forklift Truck, I do have this odd preoccupation with buying beers with disco in the name and just drinking them all at once.
Absolutely. Do you own one of those T-shirts that's got the Tesco logo, but the word says disco?
I haven't even seen one.
If you can picture it, the same font. It says Tesco, blue writing, red underline, but it says disco instead. It's fantastic. Rascal, I think you've just figured out what to get him for Christmas.
If he believed in Christmas, I would, but yeah.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that. I'll have a little Google of that later. I'm not sure if I need my name on a T-shirt. I might stick with beers, but it's a good shout. It's good. What was it for? We've got loads of people in. We've missed a load of comments, so apologies if there's any comments scrolled through and I've missed. But
we haven't missed that many. It's mostly Lucy saying, hello, what a wonderful treat this is on a Thursday, yes. And Merseyside Beers is saying, did I fall asleep and wake up on Thursday again? You quite possibly, yes. You've not getting your days confused. This is a special event here. And Beer Asylum. Hello, Beer Asylum. Lord's Beer Co. Hello. Yeah, so hello everyone who's joining and watching. If you really like us, like and subscribe, because as soon as we get to 1,000 people, we're moving to YouTube to do things like this. Yes.
No, we're not. Yes. Are you moving to YouTube as well?
Oh yeah, definitely do both things.
Yeah. So please like and subscribe. That's my little advertising bit. Now for my public service broadcaster announcement. Cameron, you've been a great guest so far, man.
Thank you.
How you've been coming up with your names is just brilliant. I love it. How many people were at Turning Point? How did you start out?
So it started as me and my friend Aaron. I used to run a pub in York called the Falcon Tap, which if you've sort of done a pub crawl from the train station in York over the last 7 or 8 years, you might have been in. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. It was phenomenal. It was like, every day was a beer festival, as I used to say. Pick all the beers and drink all the beers. That's where I met Aaron, who used to work at Grascastle Brewery. We really became fast friends, got to know each other really well. And he told me he was leaving one day, and I was like, what a shame. We've, supposed to be a good friendship. Be a shame for you to leave the industry. Skip 6 weeks, and we'd signed the lease on a brewery building, bought kit. The dream would come true. We sort of jokingly suggested we should do it, and then just actually did. And yes, that was almost 5 years ago. That would have been December 2016. And then, so we started, the two of us started brewing in March of 2017 with some help from our good friend Marco, who now is at Bone Machine Brewery. And he's part of Bone Machine Brewery, and he's worked at Atom and Brass Castle as well, and a few others. So that was the starting lineup, really. Me in the brewery with Marco, Aaron on sales, and then sort of share the rest of the things. And our brewery initially was in Kirby Moorside, which is a fairly small town, about 20-something miles north of York. And we had a really good couple of years just sort of settling into, finding our pace and understanding the size of the equipment that we were using, and sort of growing into it a little bit. And we grew actually pretty quickly, but sort of also organically, just not before we were ready to, just adding tanks and adding members of staff. And then Marco eventually went back to doing what he was doing. Luke, who I mentioned earlier, is now the head brewer, joined us after maybe a year or so. And then from there, we again took a big leap of faith, as you say, Lord's Brewing, and decided sort of midway through 2019 that we were going to move site and really go for it, because we found out that Roosters Brewery were moving to Harrogate at their current site in Hornbeam Park. And so we were like, well, let's jump at the chance, if it's there, to move into their spot, sort of like a hermit crab brewery move, which is what we've seemed to have perfected, because our first one, we bought Badco's brew kit and put it in Moorside Brewery's old place. Then we were like, right, let's move our brewery into Roosters. And we did exactly that. And then, as of sort of,
it's not quite cuckoo, but it's sort of moving into. But it's
hermit
also
crab. It's our own unique recipe. We got to that point. We moved to Knaresborough, just about got settled there, just about by the start of 2020, and then obviously by the time at that point, I think we had 7 full-time members of staff. We'd added a few other people, and obviously you know what happens next. And then we woke up, and it was all of a sudden it's today. The last 18 months have been an absolute, I haven't got the adjective strong enough to describe what a ridiculous couple of years it's been. We jumped from like a 1,800 litre kit, brewing a couple of times a week, to now like a 5,000 litre kit, still brewing a couple of times a week. But the space is 4 or 5 times bigger than what we were at before. We've got a tap room on site, great team, lovely people, really happy with the beers. We love our kit, we love our tanks, just the building that we're in, the part of the world that we're in. It's all pretty rosy. We're just waiting for there to be enough diesel, CO2, and people going to pubs for it all to be excellent.
Exactly.
And then it will have all come together, and I can start growing my hair back.
Me and you both. Yeah.
I'm all right, Jack. Just going back one step, the brewery name, is that Turning Point, as in it was literally your turning point from what you were doing? Is it?
I guess retrospectively, we've sort of adopted that as the story, I guess. But when people generally ask, I normally say it's the same sort of thought process that goes into our beer names, which is not that much really. We were really worried about the brewery name. We over-engineered it a little bit at the start. We came up with like 400 different names, and then Aaron said Turning Point for something, and I was like, that's perfect. It's easy to say, and no one's done it before, so let's do that one. But yes, that's where we're at.
I've got to bring this up. You're getting a lot of praise in the comments, particularly from Lord's Brewco, John. He's a fellow Yorkshire brewer. He's saying he's moving as well. Don't move before I come to visit, John. Congratulating on your leap of faith. I've got to say, man.
Oh, thank you.
you've only been around, what, 5 years? 6 years?
Yeah, coming up 5 years. So the birthday do that Disco was at on Zoom was March. Was it March this year? So yeah, coming up quickly towards 5 years.
Wow.
It's honestly, it's gone by in an absolute blink of an eye. It still feels like, and I noticed this when we speak about, or we talk about the brewery to other people as well. It still feels like a new thing. It doesn't feel like a half a decade job just yet.
That is absolutely amazing because I first heard of you at the Ealing Beer Festival, and for you to even be sending beer down to the Ealing Beer Festival it must have been your 3rd year. I mean, London's well out your reach. Is not well out your reach, obviously, but it's a fair bit of logistics. But
this is the thing that freaks me out sometimes. Is we've got enough people working with us and selling beer and delivering beer. I didn't even know we had beer at that festival. It just blows my mind. It's like, yeah.
Probably know more than us about how festivals work and get their beers, but yeah, we did think. I mean, there was obviously a whole range of other beers there as well, but it is good that they get such a range and get stuff down to London. You probably wouldn't hear about otherwise.
I can guarantee you we did not deliver that beer in person in our van. It will have gotten there through a wholesaler, probably.
Yeah.
Either that or I think, depending on how long ago it was, we used to Great Heck Brewery, may they rest in peace, used to deliver quite a bit of our beer around various festivals south of, down south as they call it, below Sheffield.
Well, as John pointed out,
let's be generous. Below Nottingham, come on.
Well, yeah, there's that great north-south debate, but I don't really recognise the whole north-south drink. I just drink Yorkshire beers because I do, as John says, it rocks definitely for beers. I think all the beers mentioned earlier, I've had beers from over lockdown, and I just keep buying from Yorkshire.
Just to be clear, anything northern is above Watford, all right?
It's weird. The two definitions, the Venn diagram doesn't match up. There's a big gap between those circles.
Yeah. Nobody's entirely sure, and it doesn't really matter to me.
Matters to me, but hey, he's trying to be polite. I'm just being honest.
No, I genuinely love
Great Heck were fantastic. They were one of those breweries that I used to get in all the time at the Falcon Tap. We used to have a permanent line of it rotate between their 3.8, which was called Chopper, and their 4.5 Citra Pale Ale, which was absolutely phenomenal. I dare say a little bit ahead of its time for a sessionable cask beer that was absolutely beautiful.
What was your first beer out then? What was your first brew?
I guess my gateway into beer was I hate to say it was sort of through drinking beer that I bought in the supermarket. This is the reality of being 16 and 17 and starting to get into these things. But yeah, when I first started going out to pubs, I went straight in. I think one of the most memorable pints of beer I ever had was a pint of Magic Rock Dark Arts. It said that it was a surreal stout, and I was like, well, I want whatever that is. And I loved it. And that was before I really was aware of what breweries were, what size they were, and all that jazz. When you try something like that, and it's such a leap from what you've had before, then it really does make you sort of just opens your eyes a little bit, doesn't it?
It does, absolutely. I've had many groundbreaking moments over the past, particularly 5-6 years. But I've always been a bit ale orientated, being a bit different with it. Bit of an arse to my friends, to be honest. But hey, it is what it is. But if you're going to spend money on something, spend money on quality and not just piss that makes you hungover.
Absolutely.
Fat. Yeah.
I even remember, I used to go into pubs with my. It'll kill me if he ever watches this back, which he probably won't. I don't think he has a phone. But my dad used to take me into pubs so he could play snooker or whatever and play pool. And I always remember, the thing that was sort of at eye level at the bar were the hand pumps. And I was like, oh, they're always different. What's that then? Why is the other ones? I recognise those words. I've seen those on adverts on the TV. I've seen Guinness with the horses, and I've seen Carlin with the lobster on the desert island, or whoever it was. I recognise that. I'm not interested in those. You can get those anywhere. I want Pendle Witch or Copper Dragon or whatever it is. You know, these sorts of names, and Pride of Pendle, and those sorts of beers, like sort of. I don't know. They got some sort of like Tolkien-esque lore to them. When you're like too young to understand what they were, they're just like portraits of a crazy universe. Yeah, sort of like I was sort of subliminally into it before I was able to conceive of what a pint of beer was.
I think we've all done that. Just seen a pump clip and go, I don't know what it is, but I want that one. And just go with faith.
But that's what we're trying to do now.
It's working so far, working well. I was say this big manifesto is going down an absolute treat. It's proper fruity and tropical, and I was going to say milky, but that often doesn't sound good. But milky in a good way. It's proper. Delicious, and it wouldn't normally be my thing. I'd sort of tend to avoid some of the pales, especially ones that sort of give sort of hop notes and stuff like that. But there's not a massive hop burr on it. It's not like heavily citrus or anything. It's much more tropical and fruity than that, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, excellent. That's good to hear. Thank you. The idea with that beer was that it was to be soft and easy to drink. We're blessed at our site with really nice soft water. It really is a pleasure to brew with, and when you've got that at your disposal without the need of a fairly expensive water treatment, in situ, it makes you want to make those sorts of IPAs. And it's just you don't need a lot of. There's nothing particularly complicated about it. It's just using good ingredients and making sure you get the process right. So yeah, we. Take a lot of care over like making sure there's none of that hot burn that you mentioned about. To me, that some people see that as a desirable. To us, that's to most breweries, I would have thought that's like a proper off flavour. If you're getting hot burn, to me, that's the equivalent of making a cup of tea and then drinking the tea leaves. It's like, it's not going to taste good. The hot, characteristics should be there. So, but yeah, that beer's low in bitterness. It's got a decent body, nice citrusy, like you say. Character to it, a lot of fun. Yeah, and the artwork as well. It's done by a friend of mine, Sam Jeffries. His details are on the can, and it's such a cool design.
Fair enough.
When we show the cans, because it always reverses in Instagram, but we have to put up with it. But no, it is absolutely great. There's a lot of space theme goes through your artwork.
A lot of space, yeah. I'm just reading this comment. I think I know what that is. Is that Lammy? I think it is. Your face is very small and I can't click on it, so it might take me off this thing. But yeah, I'm guessing it is.
Lambert.
Lambert. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I used to live in Rosendale in Lancashire, and that's there was a lot of that sort of traditional beer going on over there. But yeah, there's so many everywhere. There seem to be places opening up selling good beer, but every time I go back to Rosendale, there's somewhere new to try. It's fantastic.
That's a good thing. How have you coped, if you mind me asking, with COVID and the lockdowns? Have you had a lot of support from fans and supporters? Or? Yeah, it's been incredible, to be honest. Like without any doubt, it's the most terrifying thing that's ever happened to anybody, really, I guess. If it's not the top of your list of most frightening times to be alive, then I'd love to hear what that other thing is. But COVID was really poorly timed for us because we just spent all of our money moving to Knaresborough, and the buying equipment and moving sites and everything that comes with that. It's not a cheap job. So we were banking on a really strong start. We had a really good February, a great start to March, and then
that weird, wonderful day where they said don't go to the pub, but they didn't close the pubs. It was just, it felt like the apocalypse, man. It was like really, really close to the end, which was it's terrifying. You know, if it had just been me and Aaron, it would have felt like there's less at stake. But you know, we had people's jobs to protect. It was very stressful. But we decided pretty early on, like we sort of sat everyone down and we were like, right, well, these people are going to work from home. These people just, you know, just look after yourselves, look after your family. You know, we had to do what's best for each member of the team and all that sort of thing. So, but we managed to get through it. You know, it was scary because for about 6 months, our massive brewing warehouse, purpose built to serve the great pubs of the free lands of the United Kingdom and beyond, were it's just a place where we put cans in boxes and posted them out. So we didn't do an awful lot of brewing. It was really awful. I mean, we enjoyed aspects of it because you know, we got to know people in the local area. We got to do a little bit for charity. We were doing local deliveries out of the backs of our hatchbacks, taking people beer because they weren't supposed to leave their house or go to work or any of that stuff. So, you know, we had a good 6 months of doing Zoom events and delivering beer to people's doors and meeting them on the doorstep, and that was bizarre. But I actually, like, looking back at it, like, kind of enjoyed it for a few different reasons. But yeah, like I say, it put us pretty close to the local community because it was like, you know, order beer off our website. We're probably going to bring it round to your house at some point later that day, and that covered York, Harrogate, Knaresborough, and sometimes Sheffield as well. So that was really kept us busy.
That's good for the local community. Did you have the web shop beforehand for sending cans out, or was that a catalyst to get the web shop up? Yeah.
So even though our web shop was probably only doing a few sales a week, I always maintained it and made sure it was looking good and up to date, and we got beer out quickly because, well, not because you never know, the apocalypse is round the corner, but other reasons.
I see Rasco's moved on to something rather big there.
I have.
On the dipper.
I am. The Turning Circle, and it's already nice tropic aroma coming, as you sometimes expect with a dipper or hope for. Ooh, that's a little bit surprising. That's good. Not that it's not. It's the bitterness is a bit of a surprise because it's like, yeah, I mean, it's the bitterness is there, but it's not directly on the tip of your tongue where I usually get the bitterness from a dipper, but it's kind of in the middle of the tongue and not bitter when going down. And yeah, that's how I examine dippers, where I get the bitterness from. That's a bit different. I quite like that. And oh my god,
yes, what a it's an interesting beer. It's that's wallpaper paste, isn't it? That's what you want to see.
Yeah.
That's been dry hopped within an inch of its life. It's just That's great.
We say before we're not massive fans of the bitterness. So often dippers I kind of tend to overlook. Tried them. Yeah. That said, the precursor to that beer, I've had a few beers from Full Circle as well, a great brewery from Newcastle, doing some good stuff. And I had the precursor to that beer, and again, I only bought it, despite it being a dipper, I only bought it because it was called Disco Stars. So obviously I had to buy it. And I think it's kind of the precursor to that beer, because that's their one. This is your collab with them.
That's right, yeah. So that was brewed in Newcastle. I went up there a few weeks ago, and yeah, fantastic brewery. They've not been going a particularly long time, but they've got wonderful equipment, great team, and the beers that they're knocking out are just spectacular. Really good.
Cool. I'm going to say this is a mighty fine dipper. I've got to say.
Thank you.
I'm quite pleased. It just doesn't follow the same formula as a dipper. There is something quite unique and different.
That's what I found. That's why I found the previous one from Full Circle, the Disco Stars. I'm a little bit disappointed in myself that I didn't actually pick that one up on this order. I probably should have done, and I regretted it as soon as I pressed send. But,
I'm just going to have to do something on my phone a second. If you lose me, I'll be right back. But what I've done, foolishly, is I have a... it's really embarrassing. I have a timer for certain apps so that I don't spend more than 30 minutes on them a day. This is one of them. And I need to turn that off before it boots me off.
That's a good thing for willpower. That's quite an amazing thing to do. I wouldn't have the willpower for that.
Right. I had the same app actually, but I frequently turn it off. Well,
it's annoying because you can very easily tinker with the times, but I like to keep it there as like a... Did I really just sit and spend 30 minutes on Instagram? Yes, I did. Right, okay. But it's fine because you guys have got a beer, so...
Yeah.
Well, the good news is I've not seen that notification in a very long time.
I've just moved on to another beer again that I wouldn't necessarily do, but I'm getting round to them. The West Coast IPA, Outspaced. Another space theme beer.
Fantastic. Not another space one from Turning Point. Surely not.
Why not?
we wouldn't dare.
What is it, the space theme? I get the impression you're science fiction fans.
I think so. Like anything with our brewery, it sort of starts. If you guys were to start a brewery, I dare say there might possibly be a disco theme in there. But you just go with what your interests are. And to me, like, nothing is more enjoyable to. I don't know, like, you know, the cartoons on our cans sort of tell a very loose story. There's nothing more easy to and more rewarding to fantasize about in that way than space travel. Like, if we can make a fictional armadillo and a creature, like a character full of hops traveling around the universe in search of God knows what, then brilliant. So yeah, I have always been interested in space in general, but like fictional space especially.
And if that then makes somebody smile as well as having good beer, it's like win-win, isn't it, really?
But if you have a closer look at that can, there is a story being told there. If you start from left to right, you'll notice that there are 3 hops. One's wearing a suit, one's got a tie around his head, and the other one's got a blonde goatee. And they're having an egg and spoon race to see who can get the rocket first. The idea being that it's 3.
This won't probably work, but it isn't it?
So those are the security guards. If you go to the other side of the can.
Oh, I see. Yes, yes.
You see what I mean? So there you go. You've got from right to left, as you see it on your screen, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Richard Branson having an egg and spoon race. Whoever gets to the finish line gets to go on the first rocket to space. See, it was a relevant joke when we came up with it about 4 months ago, but now it's no longer. It's over, isn't it? One of them won.
Sorry, John, I'm just going to say a quick goodbye to John from Lord's Brewing. Thanks a lot, John, for popping in, as always.
He's calling you Mr. Turning Point, probably because we didn't introduce you, because this is Cameron, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Thanks, John. Appreciate your questions and comments. All the best if you do end up moving. If you need any help or anything, or if you've got any questions, just give me a message.
Superb, yeah. They're down in Huddersfield. I think they're not going to move out of Huddersfield. They're just moving somewhere closer to town centre and a bit more space and stuff like that. So another good Yorkshire brewery too. Sorry, Rasker, go on.
Actually, he might need some help because he's actually doing a YouTube charity event in the 9th of October, doing a 24-hour live stream from Yorkshire for Yorkshire veterans. So if you want to be aware of that and know of it, get involved. We're going to be involved somehow. Let us know. Let him know. Spread the word. It's all for a good cause to help out veterans, homeless veterans of Yorkshire and maybe beyond. Who knows?
Wonderful.
All right, plug. Disco, you keep talking while I just plug everything tonight, okay?
Well, it's teamwork, mate. Teamwork.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, I love the details on that can. Like, you've even got the security guards down as details. I think it's pretty.
That was a really, really fun one to put together. I don't do the artwork for them. That's from Lottie Walsh. She does most of our can designs. They're really fun. It's like sometimes she'll come up with something. Sometimes there's a bit of like on that one especially. There was a specific brief. Please, can you draw Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Richard Branson having an egg and spoon race to get to a rocket, please?
It's brilliant. I mean, it's all very well having.
It keeps us happy.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, keeps everybody else happy as well. I mean, it's all very well having funny artwork and stuff, but you've got to have good beer in there as well. And I'm not saying that because you're here, but every Turning Point beer I've had, although I have been a bit selective about some of them, every Turning Point beer I've had, I've enjoyed, and it's been just. I mean, as I say, West Coast is probably not my thing. A little bit too much on the bitterness. Doesn't mean it's a bad beer. I can say that, but nice bit of like pithy bitterness, bit of orange going on. As far as I know, a top West Coast.
Thanks. Yeah, we're really happy with that. It's got that grassy sort of character you expect from like 2010 IPAs from the big name American breweries like Sierra Nevada. Obviously they're still making those, but you know what I mean, those kinds of beers that were popular about a decade ago, where the in thing was how bitter that they can make the beer. That's not by any means too bitter, but certainly a big step up from something like Big Beat, which is really soft.
Yeah. And I do like to challenge myself, my palate a little bit, and go for some of the stuff I wouldn't normally try. And I've said this before on posts, I can do that with Turning Point because I know there's a good chance it's going to be a good beer. So it's not it's not a risk, but it's something I'll challenge myself with.
Do you have any like influences from your brewing, or is it just done from scratch? Or
what do you mean beer wise? Like the recipes and the I guess so. Yeah. So my direct influence from starting to make beer was drinking other people's beer in a pub, and we were getting through I don't know 10 to 20 different beers from different breweries every week. So I'd say the influence was like a melting pot, a bit of a pouring names into a funnel and seeing what comes out. So there's I'd say Weird Beard, Pressure Drop, and Wild Beer. Just 3 names off the top of my head that when I really got into beer, I was like, those are the ones, and the Colonel and Demolan, big names like that. Like these great breweries that were just right there at the start of beer exploding in the UK. Obviously Demolan from Netherlands, but. But yeah, like that's in terms of like crystallizing that and turning it into your own recipes. Obviously, you've got to market where your business is as well. So we were in, fairly rural Yorkshire. By chance, we were making the sorts of beers. We were producing the sort of beers that we wanted to drink. In that area, it wasn't like we were pandering to a cask heavy market or anything like that. It was that's what we wanted to do, and we're still to this day. People are surprised, I think, when we take our beer further afield, just how much cask beer we make. Still probably more than half. That's what really does it for us,
Wow.
I'm really pleased to hear you put Weird Beard at the top of that list as well. It's fairly local to me here down in Ealing, just over the border.
Yeah, great beer. It's really good. And again, pump flips, man. I was hooked into those guys because I used to get their beer from Blackjack Brewery, who at the time were doing sort of distribution around sort of down the M62 corridor, but distributing beer from all over the UK. And I was getting a weekly drop of stuff, and Weird Beard was one that the names of the beers, sometimes there were Metallica references, and that would hook me in. So
yeah, he's totally into his heavy metal, and he's got several metal references going on.
Yeah.
No, definitely Weird Beard one of my favourites. I'm quite pleased to hear you got a few London breweries in that list of yours. You know.
Did I really? That was kind of by accident. What I was doing there is I was just like picturing the bar and like thinking about what beer we used to have. It's such a long time ago. It's like a different life. But to add to that, I'd definitely add Buxton to that list as well. They were really, really influential in me getting into beer, especially their beer Axe Edge. Couldn't get enough of it. I was never really daydreaming about making that sort of beer. When I started homebrewing in the pub, I was obsessed with the idea of making smoky stouts, which is not something we do because I wasn't very good at it. I just couldn't get the balance. Like it's like barbecue cooking, isn't it? It's like how do you know when to stop? So like the smokiness was always too much. I just couldn't restrain myself. So yes, smoked beer, as much as I'd love it to be, is not the most popular style. So save that for a retirement brewery.
Cameron, just send a few samples down to me. I'll be the judge. Smoky beer. I love the stuff. There's not enough of it out there.
It's great, isn't it? Fantastic.
Rasco's locals and Spectrum Hop Day, they're pretty. They've got pretty adepts at the smoky.
Oh, yeah, really good. It's nice to see that's one of their core beers, I think, isn't it? It's one of their most popular brews.
The smoked brown,
the smoke. Yeah. I was thinking of the route beer for Oktoberfest, but yeah, of course, I almost forgot about the smoked brown.
Yeah, the smoked brown came first, and they did a smoked barley wine beer, and of course the route beer, which I've got plentiful of. I've got about 4 cans of it upstairs, and I think I need to get a few more. And then
I think we're trying to like convince you to maybe like go down that road, Cameron. We would you'd probably get a sale here anyway.
Well, actually, I was going to say we are making a smoky stout next week as it happens. That's not where I was going with that, but that won't be made at our brewery. It is a collaboration, so you have to wait and see who that's with and what we're doing.
Well, mate, you've got a guaranteed sale or a guaranteed visit from me. Either which, I'm getting some of that.
Is that anything to do with the Collabogeddon series? I think you're involved in Collabogeddon.
It is, yeah. So that's already the giveaway, isn't it? It's not even a surprise anyway. So that's with
Elusive didn't announce it last week. That's why I saw it.
That's with Elusive, yeah. So I'm going down to Elusive Brewery next Thursday, and then we're brewing. Yeah. We got an event on the Thursday night. Loads of our beers on. I can't remember the name of the pub because I've not been organising the event, but a pub in Reading. If I could find my laptop, I'll find out what it is. But and then we're brewing the next day. So the idea is like some sort of campfire stout. It's like really sweet and smoky, and bit of cinnamon maybe, some wood chips and all that good stuff.
Well, that will also definitely require my first order from Elusive, because Elusive have, sadly, I did say this the other day, they've been a bit elusive to me. I've just never been in the right place at the right time to buy them. That is one I'll be looking out for.
Yeah, they make some really, really good stuff. I've been drinking quite a lot of their West Coast IPA recently. It's called Oregon Trail. I dare say a big part of the inspiration behind The Outspaced is drinking a lot of that beer and sort of daydreaming about making something similar.
Well, not like I say, Elusive have been a bit elusive, although I do know that Oregon Trail it's become a lot. It's got a lot of following, and Elusive have become quite a big name as well. So that's a great. Do you do many collabs? Have you got many on your belt? Or?
Yeah. I guess since we started, maybe on average one a month. And then this last couple of months has been absolutely wild. Just like seems to be one a week. It's fun though, it's one of those things you talk about it at beer festivals and then it doesn't happen. And then we still want to do them. So all the ones that we cancelled in COVID times, we've just managed to squeeze them into the calendar. And I think we're full for the rest of the year now. We've got quite a few. We've got Ampersand and Elusive next. And then where else are we off to? Yeah, maybe like another 4 before the end of the year, 4 or 5 or something like that before like December.
How do they work? Do you just get on the phone to like a brewery that you like and go, let's do some work?
Not necessarily. We tend to just ask people at beer festivals if we're getting on well, and if we've got some common ground beer wise, and we make friends. Then yeah, definitely, it's nice. I always say to people, like, when you set up a brewery, there's no one size fits all. Here's how to start a brewery. So everyone you go to, it's completely different, and you always, no matter what, you always learn something new about beer when you go and make it with somebody else.
Yeah, I was going to say, because this is a question I've asked another brewery, the Mad Yank Brewery. Do you actually get something out of collaborations, or are they just a marketing gimmick? I'm a bit of a marketing cynic, so.
It's not really marketing, to be honest. It's more. I think of it this way: we were going to make beer anyway. Why don't we do it together? So it's a nice thing to do. If a brew day can be us making lunch and having a few beers with some friends that we see once or twice a year at beer festivals, and host them for the day, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
What a great way to spend a day at work. So we like to do that, and also it gets us out and about and seeing people and places, and good way to travel. Lots of fun. Not necessarily like a marketing thing. I mean, I guess you could think of it like that, but I think for the vast majority of collaborations in the industry, they're mainly just based on, well, we're friends, so why don't we make some beer?
Yeah.
I mean, it might help with sales and getting your name out, because if you go to if you go to Elusive and the people in sort of Reading, Berkshire area haven't heard of Turning Point, it does kind of get your name out, and vice versa, all over the country.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, as well as the friends thing, it's great. It's a great idea. I'm all for it.
No, it is great, and it's, when I was at Brew London, I think Creative Juices put it perfectly. It's like, we're all competitors here, but we're also all helping each other out. And I find that so great of the beer industry, and the craft end of it, at least. Just how, look, we're competing, but we're gonna happy to exchange ideas and flavors and stuff, and we're gonna make the best beer possible. And we got sad geeky people like us on social media here just to talk about it and promote it for you.
But that's the same as us. Like, we like talking about beer, we like drinking beer, we like talking about beer, and we like connecting with people. Like, so okay, I mean, just chat about beer, your brewery, and also it may or may not get your name out. If we can help like that, that's great, because then we get to find out about more stuff as well. We use social media, I suppose.
Absolutely, yeah, of course. Yeah, it all helps. But yeah, collaboration's a good thing to do. Not dissimilar to the way we set this up. I was chatting to you at London Beer Festival. You said, "Oh, maybe one time we could do a thing." I said, "Yes, let's do the thing." Yeah. The rest is history. It's just like it's pretty much the same as that for collabs. A little bit more planning involved, obviously, but
I was just glad you knew who we were. To be honest, when I said I'm Roscoe and Disco. But sadly, he said, "Oh yeah, I've done a thing with this guy." And I went, "Oh no!" I thought that was the end of it at that point, Well, shit!
Thankfully, it was only the beginning.
Hey,
I'm just gonna get myself another beer.
Why not?
I can't believe you guys have led me astray like this. Going back for my second beer.
We've got full shoulders. We can take the responsibility, but.
Can you hear that ridiculous noise? That's the cat's crying because I've dared to open the fridge.
Not feeding.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's nothing in here for them. We've got a choice of House in the Rock, Small Hours, or Marble Extra Special. Small Hours it is. or a cup of tea. We could always go back to Plan B, couldn't I?
Yes,
You've
you
gone for
could.
beer, haven't you?
Yeah, Small Hours. This is the Vocation collab that we did fairly recently.
Ah, yes. It's another one on the website that I didn't put on the order, and I probably should have.
You're going to notice that I'm an absolute heathen. I quite often just drink beer out of the can.
Well, that's a good point. I always tend to just put it in the glass, and I don't actually know why. I mean, what is the difference for you? I mean, does it matter that you just drink out of the can, or is it like better that way or in a glass? Like, why not?
I don't actually. No, I think that I feel like beer stays slightly colder in the can because the can is chilled as well and the glass is not.
Yeah.
The hop character generally is preserved a little longer, and the aroma is concentrated at this small hole in the top rather than exposed. So I don't know. There's a little bit of drinking from a can that I do like to see the beer. Most of the time, I probably pour it out, but you know. Nice little can in your hand. You get to keep looking at the artwork as well. It's nice.
Yeah. I think it depends on the beer as well. I mean, there's probably quite a few cans, like sort of like I had one from Brew York. And luckily, again, I won it, so I had quite a few cans. So I did sometimes, if I was just doing like a Zoom thing or something, I would just pop a can of it and just not bother to put it in a glass, and slightly different drink, just as enjoyable. So I don't see a problem with it myself.
Absolutely.
Ultimately, it doesn't really matter. If it makes you happy, do it. But there's a lot of research and development into this, on like how a glass shape can make your drink more enjoyable. And something like a wine glass, or what, this was at London Craft Beer Festival, what they had out. This is the ultimate taster as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the way it just channels the aroma up your nose is just brilliant. And you can give it a nice swell.
They are good.
Yeah. You can give it a swell very easy. I like this. I just like this for comfort purposes. This is actually my favourite. It's a half glass, because I tend to drink halves more than anything else now. And I've always liked the handle. Always liked the handle on it, and that makes me happy. I don't drink beer to be depressed. Normally I do it to be happy. The one Disco's holding up, yeah, that's good. Down at the bottom where it curves down, that tends to capture a few more flavours and stuff, and it releases up, but you can't swirl it, so it won't rise up to the drink.
They're a bit of a bugger to clean that, getting your hand right down the bottom. But the reason I'm holding up is just the lacing on the glass, and I'm always led to believe that kind of indicates a quality beer.
I believe you might be right. And also indicates a clean glass, which is just as important.
Yep. Yep.
We've had discussions about that on this show. But actually, I really enjoyed that. I don't always say that about West Coast, but that
Good.
was really drinkable.
Oh, excellent.
Nice little bitterness.
Anyway.
The next one into a glass as well. Rasco had this first, but I'm going on to the Clan Caviar because I do like to sort of go light to dark. So obviously I've gone 2 pales, but I'm going to get a stout in the glass.
The big question up in that direction is barley wine or Impy Stout.
Yes.
Wine, but it is a weekday and a school night, so I might not finish on that. I might save that for like a midweek sup. I have got another big stout in the stash, actually. I can't remember if it's Laguna Sunrise or I don't think it's the 10% one that's you barrel aged recently.
Oh, the Ecstasy of Gold.
Ecstasy of Gold. I have had that one. I presume I just had the Ecstasy of Gold, and now you've Bourbon barrel aged.
Yeah, probably the barrel aged versions in the last 4 or 5 weeks. I think we brought that out.
So I've a couple of fairly geeky questions, I suppose, relating to that. First of all,
The more, the better. The more geeky, the better.
well, first of all, I noticed recently Bourbon barrel-aged Gravediggers biscuits. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, I have a can of that in the fridge. It was canned today.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I'm going to have to save my pennies. That'll be another look for when that comes out.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Like what a beer! Like we I get so excited about our stouts when they eventually come out, especially the barrel aged ones, because they take such a long time. You know, it's to get to that point. But Griftig's Biscuits is one of those beers. It's espresso martini stout. If anyone doesn't know already, it's basically we made a beer a couple of years ago called Dark Matter Custard, which Disco, I believe you'll have tried at the birthday thing if you had the beers.
Very much.
And that, we tried that on cask in the Three-Legged Mare in York, and I looked at Luke and I said, that's just a couple of coffee beans away from being an espresso martini. So we went back to the drawing board, tweaked the recipe, up the ABV, put some coffee in it, and it was like, oh my god, this is exactly what we wanted. And then we brewed it again with our own blend of coffee when we first moved to Knaresborough, then barrel-aged that version, added fresh coffee. So it's like all of that, plus like a really nice bourbon kick, which just gives it like this soft liqueur edge, and it's such a treat.
Absolutely.
Really nice.
I miss it when it first came out. I saw a pump clip, and then I think luckily was it back end of last year you did it in can as well. So I was
that's right, yeah.
And it was absolutely perfect. So to barrel age that will be amazing.
And it's that same batch as well. It's not a rebrew or anything like that. We split the beer that was released last year into two. Half of it was barrel aged without coffee, and the rest had coffee added and was released. So it's all from the same brew, which is really exciting because I'll be able to try them side by side, which is great.
So just a quick question before we check out what Rasko's got, because I noticed he's put a dark into the bottle, glass as well. Would you be barrel aging that at all?
Not that one. Not at the minute. We made that beer, and I think we were full on barrels. And also, if we did that beer again, we would definitely increase the ABV to barrel age it. So we'd maybe do an even more ridiculous name. I don't know what could we call it. Who knows? But yeah, that beer, maple and pecan, but up the ABV to sort of 11% or something like that. Stick that in bourbon and rum barrels, and then who knows where that'll take us. But that would be a good one. Maybe.
Because I first said, did you brew it for Beer 52, or was it brewed anyway? And then because I first had it in 330 at Beer 52 box.
That's right. Yeah. So we brewed it for Beer 52, and I'm just trying to think. Yeah, so it's quite a big order. So we brewed that beer maybe a handful of times to get enough for that order, which was great because it meant we could like perfect the brew as we were going, and then blend the batches together before they were canned. It was really good. So like the first batch was like, there's not enough of that flavour in there. Mm-hmm. And pecan, we've got to use a flavour in because can't really use nuts in the brewery. So it really tastes like pecans. So we just kept like tinkering with it and adding more and more and more. Towards the last batch, it was so much more pecan-y than the first one. But the good news is they were all blended back together, and it was great. So yeah, it was one of those beers. Really, really chuffed with it. I think it's like the closest you can get to a sessionable stout that's like more than like 5.5%. I could just drink so much of that. It's got real chugging potential.
No, I see that absolutely. Yeah, I would say probably more dark matter custard for me, but that's probably a bit sweeter almost in a way. But I can sweet beers, so fine about. Whilst we're on Beer 52, another thing I did see again this week, you got an award from Beer 52.
That's right. Yeah. I can't remember what the exact words are on the award, but it's something like...
I believe it was, "You've come a long way, baby." And I don't really know what that award
Yeah, that's it.
It sounds a fun award to win.
You've come a long way, baby. The award, yeah. Yeah, no, they sent us an email and it was like, oh, we want to, put something out there, put some good vibes out about you guys for, to move inside and generally. I think also for, in the lockdown, not just like sort of hitting pause, but trying to push the brewery forward whilst having precisely 0 pub customers. That I think that is, I guess what they're pointing at. Because we did all the online stuff and we kept going and we kept making new beers, even though it was difficult to do and it was painful and very stressful. We wanted to use the opportunity to like put some positivity back out into the world, and the online events were the highlight of it absolutely every week. We were on Zoom until 4:00 every Thursday morning, and it was just such a laugh. Really good.
Well, Beer 52 say the award is for, and I quote, the brewery that has best delivered on its potential in the last 12 months.
Oh, good.
Does it deliver on its potential in the last 12 months? Because I think that's a fairly apt description, really.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, I like that. We'll take it. I accept the award.
Yeah, you already have, yeah. Rasko, what did you put in your glass there? I did see...
Yes.
You went through, sorry.
I have a beer by Turning Point. You heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bourbon barrel aged ecstasy of gold. Impy stout with vanilla cacao. And yeah, it's got a cowboy on it. Here you go.
It's got a cowboy on it.
It's got a cow hop. Riding through the desert with a plant in the background. Maybe it's Tatooine. I don't know. Are you ever going to do anything with The Mandalorian, or is that a copyright issue?
No, we're pretty much are going to do something with The Mandalorian.
Very good. Very good.
The music on a post earlier, Rasko, with that.
Yeah,
Forgive me if I get a little bit distracted. I've just found out that I can do filters while we're on this. This is fantastic.
I just noticed. And funnily enough, seeing as John from Lords was on early, he was the last person to do that on our stream, and it was hilarious. About 1:00 on a Saturday night, and
I'm sure these filters used to be better though. They're all just makeup now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Probably. Yeah.
That's the sort of thing you want.
That's almost a piece of Turning Point.
Like that.
Right?
I don't know what I'm looking at there, but it's
you're looking
weird.
at multiple faces, mate. If you're going to do it, I'm going to do it. Fuck it.
That's the only good one. But yeah,
I like that.
The ecstasy of gold is what's his face? The guy that does the good, the bad, and the ugly themes, music, score. I forget his name. His tune, The Ecstasy of Gold, is the same song that Metallica come onto stage to every time they play.
Yeah, I know.
It's a lovely piece of music. Ennio Morricone is his name, and it's a beautiful song.
Funny enough, I just deleted it off of my playlist earlier because I did have that on the thing. I was going to play it, but
oh, now you're in space for real. Beautiful.
I am. I thought I'm just going to keep that. I got to say, I've done a comparison of glasses, the same drink. It's a lot better than this. I don't know, maybe because it's barrel aged, and the spirit notes of this are helping it, because this is a bit whiskey-esque. This type of glass. I met a friend at the London Craft Beer Festival as a whiskey club, and he was in love with this glass, and he thought it was a brilliant taster. And I've got to say, it actually, a lot of the flavours come through a lot more on this than they do in this. But I do love this glass, as I'm going to show you.
Very good. No, it's good that you can have the choice. I like it.
Yeah.
But the artwork from that beer, sorry, go on.
No, I forgot what I was going to say now. But fuck it. Go ahead.
What I was going to say is the artwork from that can of beer is inspired by my lockdown summer of playing Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a very highly immersive cowboy-ish video game. And yeah, that's why there's a hop person on a horse in the desert.
Yeah, I've played a bit of Red Dead in my time. About 11 years ago, I quit computer games. I relapsed about 6 years ago because I was just too into them, and I just dominate my life. I was a big Halo freak, a massive Halo freak. I even read the books on Halo, and I dedicated my life to saving humanity from the Covenant and the Flood. So that's why I realised at Halo Reach, I had to stop. My war ended, and that was it.
Understandable. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, but immersive games. One friend lent me one, and I thought that was brilliant. But I realised, no, I can't go there. Yeah.
Oh man, when I had a bit more free time pre-brewery, I was well into my games. I used to take weeks off work just to play new games. But yeah, at university especially, it was like I'd play on. We used to play on. What's it called? Forgotten the name. Well, one of them was Skyrim, and we'd play on Skyrim. Oh my god! Every time you press the pause screen, it would tell you how many hours you'd been playing. I was like, what are you doing that for? What do you mean we're 75 hours deep into the session? Just leave us alone. Well, that was it. There was a game called Sleeping Dogs, which is effectively like what do you call it? I don't want to get the place wrong. It's like Grand Theft Auto open world, but it's in China or Japan. I can't remember. I genuinely can't remember which one it was. But there was like a thing in the game where if you were able to drive without crashing, it would start a timer after 15 seconds, and you'd be like buzzing around the thing. It'd be like, how long can you go without crashing into something or not accelerating? And if we could do like an hour, then someone would come and distract you. And so I had to kind of do the same as you. I was like, right, get rid of my console, never again. But here I am talking about it. So
no, it's fine because Rasko likes to talk about that because it's one thing I can't interrupt on because I've very little say in the matter on games or sci-fi. Indeed.
In fact, I should just talk about it more. 90% of the time, then you could just. Well,
anyway, we got to look busy, chaps. The boss is here. Luke Edwards 30's just joined. He's the guy who's been producing these wonderful beverages that we're all drinking.
What? Hey. Big cheers to you, sir.
Yes, mate.
Unless I'm mistaken.
No, not possible, mate. I've got to say, Cameron, I am getting through your beers dangerously quick.
That's that Luke's fault. I don't know what he's putting in them, but yeah, no, it's one thing we've always noticed with our beers is doesn't matter what ABV we make them, they still sort of drink well in pints.
Yeah,
they still sort of disappear at the same sort of rate, and don't know if that's just because we're excited about them or what, but obviously that seems to also affect other people too. So not too sure.
I put probably, I don't know, dozens probably posts about Turning Point beers over the last 18 months because I enjoyed them. I bought quite a few because they all look amazing. They've all been great. For a long time over lockdown, I had a thing with just doing Yorkshire beers on a Saturday afternoon, evening because I was listening. I spent a lot of time listening to a live stream from a band from Barnsley called the Bar Steward Sons of Valdunican. Don't know if you've heard of them.
I have now.
You have not? No, they're a parody band. They just take popular songs and bar stewardize them. Their show involves a lot of puppets and a lot of stupidity, but they're just a great entertainment. So to have Yorkshire beers along with that, and I'm obviously posting and stuff like that. that's why I've ended up doing a lot of Yorkshire beers, I think, and also because the beers have been really good. So I have been banging on about Turning Point for a while.
Well, that's nice. That's always good. Guys, I'm going to take my third and final trip into the kitchen, but I'm going to break the streak here and get a glass for the last beer. Can you hear the cats?
I heard that. Yeah.
What do you want?
It's either a lap or food.
This is the sort of crap I have to put up with.
Go on, Cam,
they're crying because they're really excited about the third and final beer of the night.
Which is?
Actually speak cat, and that's exactly what they said. So, yes, it's a sneaky preview of Griftig biscuits, Bourbon, barrel-aged, espresso martini stout, in collaboration with Cloudgate Coffee.
Fair play. We are very, very jealous.
But yeah, this is. Yeah, after. But this is my stout glass. We got this from a Butcher's Tears Brewery. They're somewhere in the Netherlands. I can't remember where. I would hate to guess. But this really nice goblet is what I always go to for a big stout.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of principle as what you're suggesting with the London Beer Festival glass.
Yeah.
I like a stem, and I like it to be wider at the bottom and narrower at the top.
Super.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
There we go. Off we go.
Superb.
It's really fresh. Like the coffee that went into this was roasted fresh.
Nice.
Not even 6 days ago. So from it being the coffee being roasted to it going into the beer to it being packaged to me drinking it is under a week. So it's like super fresh.
Where did you get the coffee from?
So we had a hand in making the coffee. It's from a company called Cloudgate, who are based in Haworth. Very good friends of ours, and have been for a while. Sort of, brewery friends for a couple of years. And yeah, once we got to know them well, we were like, oh, why don't we do the inevitable thing and collaborate? And so we put their coffee in our beer, and then we put our not beer in their coffee, but we sort of had an input. We're like, we want the beer to taste like this. And they did their thing, and we were very, very happy with it. And that's what this is. So it's the second version of that coffee. It'll be available on their website soon as well. It'll be called Midnight Coffee. They'll have our logo on it, and you can get it. And it'll probably be on our website as well.
I was going to maybe sound a bit silly. I'm a bit geeky to where the beans come from. Are they Colombian or Brazilian or Ethiopian or?
I think about 60% Brazilian.
Oh.
So my brief to them was from I don't know a lot about coffee because I don't really drink it, but I was obsessed with the idea of using Blue Mountain coffee, which is one of the most expensive kinds I think you could produce or grow or whatever. So they were like, well, we can't do all of that. We can do a version of that. And that's what we came up with. But I can find out the specific blend. It'll be on their website. But I'll tell you where it's not. It's not in my brain.
Probably not after 7% stout. Whilst we're talking about mad ABV stouts, you just reminded me about another one I really want to ask you about, and maybe obviously give you a nudge to say, could you do it again? Because I missed it the first time round. Just going to say 2 words. Stroop Waffle Stout.
Oh, yeah. We will probably do that again. Is Luke still on? Yes, Luke is still on. So I best make sure my recollection of the events is factually correct. Otherwise, I'll be taken to task about it via a text message. So every year we like to brew something a little bit silly. At least, well, not just once a year, but towards the end of the year, we sort of wind down a little bit. Christmas is busy for breweries, but December is quiet for the brew house because we're brewing January's beer, which is the quietest month without fail. So that gives us time to brew something that can sit and ferment over the Christmas break and is ready, so bubbling away and, ready for the next step by the time we come back. So the first year we moved in, just bedding in the kit, a couple of batches of Disco King, a Wavelength, a Vision Quest, and then we thought, oh, well, why don't we try and do a 15% stout to really get to grips with our new equipment? And that's exactly what we did. But what we hadn't anticipated was that we were going to turn that into like a 48-hour working day. So we made Disco King as we normally would, and then about 3 o'clock that afternoon, one of us suggested that we should start the stout immediately after that, rather than wait till the following day so that we could boil it through the night. So we mashed in, and then we mashed in again after we dug that out. Got all of that to the boil. Well, we didn't mash in twice. No, we didn't. Luke, correct me if I make any mistakes. We mashed in one time, added a load of sugar, got the wort to the boil, held it at the boil, left and walked to Blind Jack's, which is about 25 minutes away in the centre of Knaresborough, where we had a tap takeover that night. So we got the finished Disco King, brewed an Imperial Stout, 9 p.m, boil, walked to Blind Jack's, 6 pints, Bailey's, whiskey, back to the brewery, boil all night, dig out the mash tun, sleep on the grain bags, full day of work, carry on, finished, Christmas. Came back, 15% stout. Wonderful.
Lucas just said, yeah, it was one mash. That is some dedication to the cause. I mean, me and Rasco did a homebrew that took like 6 or 7 hours or whatever, and that was kind of enough for us. But to do a second brew and a big brew like that and then just carry on all night, that's absolutely amazing. That's brilliant.
But that's the sort of thing you can only really do it on the last couple of days before Christmas, because the rest of the time, other things have got to happen. But there and then it's like, oh, well, we're finished anyway. We may as well do another silly day.
And did they include the traditional brewer's breakfast tipple in the morning with a...
Not on that occasion, because I think we maybe overindulged in Blind Jack's. And but because we were boiling through the night, it did require constant supervision. So I actually parked my car in the brewery and slept in it, because don't forget it's December, it's freezing. So I drove my car in and slept in the car in the brewery. But so we didn't really have any sleep, so we never really came round, if you know what I mean. So we were still on the night out by the time the beer finished. It was a little bit ridiculous. I don't think we'd do quite as silly a thing now. Though I would be up for it if Luke were up for it. And we've also got Chris now on the brewing team, who joined us recently from Ilkley Brewery. If he's up for it as well, then we could do 3 mashes. We could do a mash each.
Well, I would be up for that, for drinking it, because I wouldn't want to miss out on it a second time, having missed out on it previously, a 15% Street Waffle Stout.
But that beer is hilarious, because it's like, it was a big batch of beer. We'd made it on a scale that we'd not made it before. We've done plenty of 10% and 12% stouts in the past, but that was the first time we'd gone big on the big kit, and it was weird. Like we're selling that beer into Knaresborough, and people were like queuing up to go and try it and stuff. And it was just like, what a nice feeling that the local community had heard about our ridiculous brew day and wanted to try the fruits of our labour. It was nice.
Was it adjuncts of street waffles, or was it purely malt and brown sugar and stuff?
Lots of brown sugar. What do we use? Soft dark brown sugar is the one that gives you that sort of like licorice edge. Luke's saying we go again in December. All right, I'm in. Fine. Didn't take much convincing.
Well, if we've convinced you, Cameron, to drink 3 beers tonight, and we're convincing Luke to go again with Street Waffle Stout, then work here is done.
Job well done, I'd say. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was nice that so many people were excited to try it, because it's just one of those things. A lot of love went into it, and really pleased with it. But I think if we did it again, we probably wouldn't make Stroop Waffle Stout called Mile Zero at 15%. I think we could make Mile 1 and make it 14%, but make it better. I think the higher ABV is probably the thing that let that beer down slightly. Because the higher you go, the less malt flavour you get, the more booziness you get, because you're adding sugar effectively to get there. So I think if we toned it down a bit, we could get a better beer with better results. So maybe we do go again in December.
I'm sure.
Well,
this is almost like a workshopping thing, like developing the recipe as we go.
As I've told you guys on about 3 or 4 occasions this evening, we don't really put much strategic planning in place. So things like this is where it happens. This is where we do the brew schedule. Luke, if you're still here, add to the calendar tomorrow. Mile 1, December 18th.
There's much the same that we operate on this show, really. We just sort of see what happens on the night, see how it goes.
In fact, many of our production meetings happen on this live show.
What do we do next?
Yeah, so we're glad to stimulate your creativity. This is going down a bit too well. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
I'm
Glad to hear it.
I'm starting to feel it. I'm hearing my voice slur a bit. I'm going, oh, hello.
If you put the space filter back on, you'll be better.
Oh, you're right. Okay, I'll do that. Hang on.
No one will be able to tell.
I'm not worried about people telling you. And if you look on YouTube, you see footage of me at Brew London. I'm not worried about people knowing I'm pissed.
That's a good point, Rasco. Cameron, we normally put our show up on YouTube after the event, if you don't mind appearing on YouTube, on our YouTube channel as well.
Absolutely fine.
I tend to be happy with that. Superb. We'll do that probably over the weekend. What I do on YouTube, I tend to take the footage and flip it so we can read the words the right way around on YouTube. So we will look the other way, but it will look good. Hopefully, I'm sure the filters will work on YouTube as well. That'll look quite mad.
It'll probably come out shit knowing YouTube, because they don't really want us to do what we're doing. But hey, we're doing it. Oh my God, this is very good, and it's getting better as it goes down.
I'm glad you like it. The idea with that one was, it was like, there's nothing in there that's like makes it silly. It was all malt. There's nothing else really added. It's just there's no hops. It's just a lot of malt. No additions to the water, and then malt and yeast. That's it. That's all there is in it. It's oh, that's not true. And then once we'd finished the beer, we're like, oh, it needs some vanilla. And maybe some cacao. So there's a little bit of those things in there, but like the actual beer itself, there's no help from hops or sugar really or anything like that.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, because there is a very hint of vanilla in there. It's very much in the undertone of the flavour.
Well, I think what you're tasting there is more the vanilla in the bourbon than you are in the beer, because it was really subtle in the first iteration of it. The vanilla came through, but not massively. So bourbon and vanilla pair together really well for a reason. It's like it's the flavour in bourbon whiskey, so it really does come out nicely.
100% agree with you. It is. I'm really enjoying my bourbon aged barrel drinks at the moment. I can really just sit here almost like I've got a good whiskey or brandy, and just milk the drink. And this is what I'm enjoying so much about this. Thank you very much, mate, for just.
You are welcome. And you've just named our next milk stout, Milk the Drink.
Hey.
That's a win. No, that's a win, Rascal.
Milk, the drink.
hey, you can put my face on the can if you want.
Yeah, we will.
Under a space helmet. under a space
If
helmet.
any guy's face is going on the can, it's Bruce Springsteen. There he is. Look at him. Look at that man.
Oh, okay, all right. They catch everyone. What we do when we got guests on the show, we always ask them, "What music do you like?" So when we do the story thing on Instagram, we put up music they like because we want it to reflect them as much as possible. What's your Bruce Springsteen thing? Yeah, the boss. What do you like about the boss?
What do I like about the boss? It's a good question, Rasco, and I'm glad you've asked it. And that's actually why I've come on here tonight, is to convince these people, all of these people, that they should listen to Bruce Springsteen as well. And I'm not here to do that because he's got enough fans. He's got for my liking, he's got too many fans. Because when I try and get tickets, I can't always get them.
100 quid a time at the Millennium Stadium, yeah.
There's a big question. As you can tell, Luke, I'm stalling for time while I think about what makes me a Bruce Springsteen fan. It came from the fact that my father was, and still is, a complete Bruce Springsteen obsessive, and my earliest memories of music are him watching Bruce Springsteen live in New York City DVD and watching the video for 10th Avenue Freeze Out, which is like 15 minutes long, over and over and over and over and over again, dancing on the sofa. And he'd fall asleep watching it, and he'd put the same track on repeat, and I'd be like, what's happening here then? But it fried my tiny 5-year-old mind, and for some reason it stuck with me. And my dad's always been one of these people doesn't give too much of himself away, but when Bruce Springsteen's on, he's an open book. So it stuck with me, and I've been hit with the same affliction, and I can't quite explain it because I'm a music-y nerd. So I'm fully aware that his music technically isn't all that, but everything about it is it. There's nothing else on this good green earth that makes me feel the same as Bruce Springsteen's music. That's all I can really say about it.
I agree with you. There is something emotive about his music, and technically, no, he's got horrible keyboard sounds in it, but they don't sound horrible. They sound rather moving.
Only in 1985 to 1989.
Yeah,
He's also a great backing band. The music hits, I suppose, all the right notes. I guess the
best thing I can say about it is that his studio albums are good. The live experience is on a different plane of reality altogether. The music is fine. It's good. It's pop songs, isn't it? It's like pop songs with fairly cheesy lyrics for a lot of it. But when you see him play it live, how does he sing these songs 5,000 times and still look like he's playing it for the first time? It's quite incredible. And
I think he just enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I've got some identification. I never quite got into Bruce, despite the fact that my best mate in school was a massive, like you, massive fan. Went to a lot of gigs and still does, despite the fact he lives in Australia, so he gets to go to some even more amazing gigs down there. But he used to play me albums from Bruce, and I'm like, yeah, it's all right. I can see the rock, blah blah blah. Hence why this evening I put the promo for this show, and I put it up. I know you saw it, 57 channels and nothing on. It's quite, I think, album track choice, but because my mate played it to me, and that was a song that I really enjoyed. Not as well as all the Born to Runs and You're Born in the USA, but I just love that song for the story, the sound, and it was just a fun song.
Yeah, it's a good song actually. It's one of those. It's not really a song, is it? It's more of a bit of an interlude in the album. But the story it's got a story. It's funny. The music video for it's hysterical. It's basically him saying "Oh, I'm the other side of famous, which is where I wanted to be, and it isn't all that. I don't care." He's saying, "I've got." Well, the opening line he's got a bourgeois house in the Hollywood Hills, and I can't remember if he says a mattress filled with $100 bills or something, or if it's a room filled with $100 bills, something like that. But he's basically bragging about how successful he is, and then saying, "But it doesn't matter because there's still nothing to watch on TV.
I hadn't thought of it like that, despite knowing the words reasonably well, because my mate gave it to me, and it was, it was like or whatever, and that was the song that kind of stuck because it was fun. But I hadn't analysed it that much, but yeah, and it was just, for me, it was in the late 90s when cable TV came out, and there was a lot of stuff on, not necessarily all of it any good, and it's probably even more so now. But and then at the end, where he says where he gets his Colt 45 out and shoots the TV and goes to court, and the judge says, "What have you got in your defence, son?" And he says, "Well, there's 57 channels and nothing on them." Yeah, fair enough. You've got to be let off that. It's just funny.
But that's it. That's probably one of his weaker songs on one of his weakest albums, and I still love it. Like, I'm obsessed with it. But yeah, so I've kind of promised myself that it's been about 2 months ago. It's 5 years since I've last seen him do a show, because it's the last time he was in the UK performing. Yeah. So next time he comes back, I owe myself at least 3 shows per year that I've missed him. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm going to try and go to every single show that he does that's outside of the US and Australia, obviously. He normally does a good 20 to 30 shows around Europe, maybe 5 or 6 in the UK. So I'm going to go to all of those, unless they clash with other Bruce Springsteen shows. That's the only thing I'd miss one for. So,
December 18th.
And that's physically impossible. So,
turned 70. He's doing well for shows.
72. He turned last Thursday, I believe. He was. I went to his unofficial birthday party in Bethnal Green on Saturday night. So me and my dad and our respective partners met up in London and went to a show which was just lots of other people with bald heads wearing Bruce Springsteen t-shirts, singing the hits. That was fantastic. I went on till 3 o'clock in the morning and have no regrets.
Superb, absolutely superb.
Oh, well, and I don't know what else to say at this point. I'm a bit pissed. I've got one more beer. I'm contemplating whether.
How about I ask you quick fire questions for the last 90 seconds, and you can download this bit of it, and then you can post that straight onto your thing, and then everyone will watch that bit and they'll go, "Oh, now I'm going to check out the whole thing."
That's great if I knew how to do that. But
well, we'll worry about that bit later. We'll do it now, and if it's good enough, you can do it. First question: have you ever touched a live octopus?
No.
No.
Well, that's the end of that.
So. Fine. See you later.
Why was there a follow-up? It have to be yes or no.
That's the only question. It was a yes or no, and the start was no. What's another question? What is the best album of all time?
Oh,
quick answers.
Never mind.
The Slow Readers Club.
Right, that's good. Would you continue? How many hours a week would you continue to listen to music if you had to run for every second you were listening to it?
Oh, that's a hell of a... I have never been any good at running for anything other than a 90-minute football match. I can't just go for a run around the block. Me and Rasco tried it once. I got about 1,800 yards.
You're giving yourself too much credit.
Yeah, like 1,500 yards. If I had to, I don't know. I would run very slowly, but I would happily listen to lots of music at a very slow
If
running
you
speed.
started to run too slowly, I'd turn the volume down, because I think that's cheating.
Let Rasco ask that whilst I run to the toilet, because it's been an hour and I have peanut bladder.
I'm going to keep asking the questions, and then we'll catch up on your questions when you return.
Just sack it.
Next question. Right, so imagine this, your dream house. Picture it. Is it on an island? Is it got a helipad? Just think about it, whatever it is in your head. Go to that special place.
Yep, I'm there.
It's yours. It's all yours. And the only thing you've got to do is for one random hour every day, the only word you can say is tench. Would you accept the terms? Like, it doesn't matter what hour it is. It might be this hour. You might be doing this podcast, and then suddenly I've kicked him with my horrible deal, and you just got to say tench. That's all you can say. Would you accept that as terms for a free dream house?
No.
That's a fair answer. I would say yes, because I'm prepared to say tench for the dream house.
No.
Are you friends with anyone who shakes hands predominantly with the left hand? And if so, why haven't you told them about it? Or do you do that yourself?
I do not do it myself, and I don't recall knowing anyone doing that.
I just don't think I could ever be associated with anyone who. It's just a mess, isn't it? It's just like.
What? It's a bit strange.
If there's like a whoopsie window in a supermarket, how cheap does a lettuce have to be before it's a guaranteed buy? Even if you're like, I've got no place in my fridge for a cos lettuce, like how cheap is, yeah, I'm going to get it because it's.
I can answer that one. The yellow sticker reduced price section in the supermarket, if it's a lettuce and it's like 9p or whatever it is, if it's got a yellow sticker on it, I'm probably going to buy it.
Yeah.
I've had some random stuff in supermarkets just because it's been on the yellow sticker. You get.
Do you feel like the yellow sticker is more important than the price? Because if I see a yellow sticker, I know I'm getting a good deal.
Yeah. I've been to Sainsbury's and had wood pigeon for like £1.30 or something because it was on the yellow sticker.
What I'm asking is, do you feel like you could be duped by the yellow sticker into thinking it's a good deal, but it's just a yellow sticker and it's the same price? I think I'm beyond that. I'm like, if it's got a yellow sticker,
you have to know the time. If you go in midday and there's a yellow sticker, I don't buy it because I don't think it's a good deal. If I go in at 7:30-ish, that's when they do the third reductions and it's even cheaper.
My God.
I tell you, I bought some stuff for like 30p, 20p when it would be like £3 worth. Depends on the supermarket, but yeah, I don't buy yellow sticker stuff till the end of the day.
Yeah, interesting.
Because Rasko will say it's because I'm tight, and I am tight, but it means I have more beer tokens for later in the day when I'm at the pub or buying more beer, so I'm just frugal.
In the where, sorry?
I'm talking generally, Rasko. Don't mug me off here, son.
Okay, fair enough. Yes.
Further questions. Do you think you could beat Robert Smith in a thumb war?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I presume you mean from the band and not my mate I used to go to school with the same name.
No, I meant your mate from school.
Both. The answer is yes to both, to be fair. I'm sure I did at school.
Not the guy from The Cure, no. Robert Smith from Disco School.
I actually prefer a band called Prevention because I heard they were better than The Cure.
Oh, very good. Very good.
That's the first dodgy pun I've put in tonight. Normally I'm much earlier with the shit puns.
Trying to think. What else have I got for you guys? Would you rather have 2 7-inch pizzas or 1 12-inch pizza?
Ooh.
And it's all for you, it's not for sharing.
Oh.
And it's the end of the night. You've had a lot of beer and... No, it does.
It literally doesn't matter because half of it's going in the fridge for breakfast anyway.
Oh. At this point, I've got to intervene with the life lesson I try and pass on to people that I meet, which is when you've got pizza the next day, don't put it in the microwave, don't put it in the oven, frying pan. Jesus. Wow.
I've heard this, and I've never done it. It's a microwave.
Incredible. Absolutely next level.
Do you flip it? Is it just one
so
side?
what I do is get a good frying pan or a griddle or something like that, preferably a good non-stick frying pan, and get it smoky hot, windows open, and put it base side down until that starts to smell like smoke, and then flip it over, and you'll only need 7 seconds on the other side. Flip it again because it's already stuck. You've not greased the pan or anything. You don't need to be messing around with that. Flip it back on the plate, straight in your gob. Amazing.
With extra grated cheese or no?
No. It doesn't need anything. Just absolutely as it was. Not even enough time for the cheese to melt, but get that charcoal sort of vibe going on the base. Get your cheese just reignited. Perfect.
I'm probably trying that on Sunday morning, I think. It's normally pizza.
Be rude not to.
Well, one second. Hello, Lush Hobbs. Thanks. Don't see you often on our show, but we love you. What you do. Do you want to be on our show for a quick chat, beer chat sometime? Just letting you know. Put that out there in messages. Anyway, I just thought I'd put that out there.
Which pizza, Cameron? Though, what's your favourite refried pizza in the morning? What are we talking?
Well, it depends what kind of night we've had. If we're where I live in Sheffield at the minute, and our pizza of choice is a place called Napoli Centro, which is absolutely phenomenal, like restaurant quality, good Italian pizza. This works just as well with a Domino's, a Pizza Hut, your dirty takeaway down the road that is open till 3 o'clock, so is the only option. This works well with all of them. The longer you leave the cheese side down, the more you're going to get that cheese on toast vibe, and it is really very special.
Well,
you can tell
that.
I've talked reasonably enthusiastically about the brewery this evening, but now I'm talking very passionately about reheating pizza. It shows you the sort of life that I'm living. I honestly can't recommend that enough. I await your messages on Sunday morning.
I will try that. Yeah, we have gone through stages of enthusiasm from Turning Point Brewery to Bruce Springsteen to refried pizza.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love that stage of enthusiasm. Is that the ultimate question then? Is if you can only have one, is it Bruce Springsteen or refried pizza for nominally ever?
I'm not even going to humour that with an answer because.
You disco?
me and Bruce are too happy as we are to talk about pizza. I've also in my living room got this. I got this sacrilegious picture of Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters as Jesus on the wall.
Oh.
And then our lovely queen, Stevie Nicks. A holy trinity of rock stars in the living room. Bruce, Religious Dave, Stevie Nicks.
All I've got on the wall is a Turning Point T-shirt.
What's on the? I can't see it because it's left to right. But what's the yellow text on the T-shirt or hoodie or whatever it is?
It says "Live from the Lockdown." It's another musician I follow called Gaz Brookfield. He's a solo acoustic guy, but for like 70 odd weeks over lockdown, he was doing because he, run out of live gigs to do. He just did live gigs on Facebook for 70 odd weeks and just called it Live from the Lockdown. And he had like regularly 100 people just watching and literally donated gig tickets for people who bung a fiver in just to watch because they couldn't go to live gigs. So he bought T-shirt, bought an album out called Live from the Lockdown. He is my musician. He is my Bruce Springsteen to you, kind of.
Oh, very good.
He's nice top level. He's a songwriter.
Well,
I think that pretty much concludes everything then. Unless you've got more questions for us, Cameron.
Maybe just one more.
Okay, go on.
I have to have a bit of a think about it, actually.
Take your time.
One more question.
Why go for one? Go for three. Don't be shy.
I won't be shy. This is a. I feel like this requires some thought, but no. If you could go back in time. Oh no, I'm going to rephrase the question. If you could time travel.
Yeah.
But you can only go in one direction and you can only travel once. Are you going forwards or backwards?
Ooh.
And there's no butterfly effect. You can't kill Hitler or shag Helen of Troy, as they say in About Time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Would I even go and do something that might? Yeah, I don't know.
No butterfly effect. If you go back, you coming back to where you were to find the world as you left it. You can't alter with history.
So you're just going for a look. You can't affect anything. You're just going for a look.
Yeah. But you could go and look at the birth of Christ. You could go and look at the birth of the universe and still come back and be you with that knowledge. Or you could go forwards and speculate and come back and say, well, guys, this is where we're headed. We need to change what we're doing.
See, if you hadn't put that stipulation in, I'd probably if it was like, would you want to live in any other like time? I would probably go back to the 60s because I think it was a lot of fun. It was almost the start of like the new age thing. You could there was a lot of development, a lot of things, a lot of music, and a lot of fun. But if you can't interact with it, I wouldn't necessarily. Would I want to look at it? I would probably go forward and only look at that week's lottery numbers, and then come back and use them. Because I'm a bit nefarious like that, I suppose. I don't know. What about you, Asco?
Well, first of all,
what would you
first of all, I disagree with you. I'd go back to the 90s. Sorry, the 60s is just over it. The 90s, when it comes to music and culture, is where it's at. You know.
True, but I wouldn't do that. I saw that. I wouldn't need to. Well, I'd love to do it again, but I wouldn't want to.
Yes, you would. Yes, you would. And quite frankly, you didn't see all of it. And you go from 1990 to 1999. So much. The 90s is fun-packed with stuff. The 60s, 70s, 80s, 50s doesn't even come close. Even combining them all, they don't even come close. But you see, Cameron says a great thing. Would I want to witness the conception of the universe? I kind of would. But at the same time, I'm kind of vain like you. I would want to go to the future and just get knowledge to come back and do things and maybe conquer the universe. Yes.
Conquer the universe. Interesting.
Yes. I know.
I like this. So one of you is just like, I want to do the music and maybe some LSD, and you're like, I want to be Doctor Who.
But the master.
The master, fair. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Doctor Who, the Doctor.
Rasko,
but yeah, a fair point.
If we went back to the 90s, Rasko, would I teach you how to drink in the same way?
Well, first of all, you did a shit job in the first place, and I taught you how to be cool, and I think I failed. If I'm honest. So
I mean, you've hit on the discussion that we have about I taught Rasko to drink in the 90s.
He clearly didn't, because he just gave me piss, and I didn't. I drank Budweiser to get away from the guy.
Maybe you could go back, Rasko, and you could go back to the 80s and learn how to drink before disco, and then you could meet him because you'd know where he'd be, and you could teach him how to drink, and he'd never have the chance to say that, and we could all meet back here in 40 years' time, and then you could say that and go, ha! I just lived 40 years to change that moment.
I honestly, I don't care enough. I just don't care enough. He can keep to his little things, you know. In fact, oh my God.
It has taken 2 hours into a live stream tonight for me and Vasco to have a row about something. We've mostly agreed tonight, I think.
Do you guys need some mediation or something? I can probably help for a small fee.
No, it happens every week that we don't agree with each other. But it has taken almost 2 hours into a live stream tonight because we mostly be talking about great beers.
My final question to bring it back to beer for the conclusion of the evening is beer, bottles or cans?
Yes.
Yes is a good answer to bottles or cans.
Yeah, either both. I don't mind either.
So I guess Rasko, you get the concluding vote.
Depends who's making it.
That's it. It's settled. There'll never be a right answer.
Never be a great answer to a daft question.
Well, not so daft, but hey, I'll leave that for another time.
Actually, genuinely good. You have come with some genuinely good, thought-provoking questions all the way through the evening, Cameron. So.
If I wasn't so tired after such an immensely long day, I might have some better ones for you, but maybe I can email those to you and you can ask them to yourselves at a future episode.
Well, I was going to say future episode. Thank you for joining us on episode. I'm going to call this episode 61, Rasko, because it is an episode, even though it's during the week. We normally number all our episodes, and we are on 61, I think, tonight.
Yeah.
So, Cameron, thank you so much for popping in and joining us with some beers and bringing some fantastic chats and some great beers.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks to everyone in the comments who's joined, and if you're watching this back on YouTube when we put this up, thank you. And everybody, please comment, like, share, and follow Turning Point, follow us, and we will come back at some point with some more beers and some more chats, probably at the weekend. I believe we've got another show on Saturday night with, I believe, a beer reviewer called Raggy. I don't know if you've seen Raggy's Beers and Wines and Spirits Views. I don't know if he's done a Turning Point beer.
Don't think so. Not that I know of.
He's just flipped on to 2,000 followers on YouTube. So he's a very happy man at the moment. He's got a beer named after him from Lincoln Green Brewery in Nottingham. He's a beer reviewer from Nottingham, so he's big into chatting about Nottingham breweries. So we're pleased to have him on the show on Saturday. A lot of fun there. Thank you very much, Cameron, for a great night, a good chat, and some good beers.
My pleasure. My last sentence of the night will be, Luke, don't worry about the fruit. I have ordered the fruit.
Mangoes?
No mangoes on this occasion.
Sunshine indoors.
Oh, well, one day. Not this year, next year. But yeah, no, absolute pleasure, guys. Keep doing what you're doing. It's good to have people like yourselves enthusiastic about beer. It brings this industry a lot of good, so keep doing it. Keep enjoying yourselves. Speak soon.
This is the way.
Thanks very much indeed. Cheers.
Night.
This is the way.